All right. Final few little adjustments, getting settled. We have a few people on already. So good. Happy Saturday. I'm excited for this conversation, but I'm realizing, hi. Oh, you're connecting. You are sideways.
Hi.
You're sideways for me.
Wait.
Perfect.
Oh, awesome.
How are
Oh
you?
my God. I'm good. How are you?
Really good, really good. I think we're just getting settled, and I forgot my lipstick. Impossible.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to go.
But you look great.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
I'm excited. Okay, so hold on. We gotta find the right thing. Ooh, a little baby gloss. Perfect.
That works. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so fun. All right, we've got some people coming on, getting ready. Everyone knows, the skaters I know that work with me a lot, they know like if I don't have my gloss, I can't really like operate, so it's pretty normal for them.
That works. I'm a lipstick person. I really like lipstick.
Absolutely.
Like red is my go-to.
Isn't it fun? I think that, it's funny, like we didn't really talk about makeup a lot yet. Yes. But
Yeah.
I think even just that, like the act of doing a little lip for yourself or a little look, it's kind of part of what we're going to lead into today. So I think it's actually all part of it, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes. I love it. Okay. We're going to officially start the webinar, you guys. I am like excited is almost the wrong word because it's a feeling of like inspiration from the inside out of this conversation and just being able to share it with everybody here. And Marie-Pier is like, I've only known you for maybe just over a year, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but we've connected so much, and I think the coolest thing about this connection is we want to share it. We're pretty like open with what we do. We want to share it with the most people we can. So we're so grateful for everybody here today. And if you've never been on one of the webinars before, just a little housekeeping. There's a little chat bar at the bottom, so you can put in all your chats, your thoughts, your feelings, anything you want to share with us. And then, of course, you can ask questions as well. We'll probably get to those more later on in the webinar. So make sure that if you ask a little question or something like that, put it in the chat so we can see it, okay? But the raising the hand thing, I never did that. So you can raise the hand thing, but I never know what to do with that. So that's where I'm starting. Oh, nice. We have little hearts from people so far. That's so cute. Awesome. Awesome.
Yes, that's perfect. I want to take a quick second to thank you all for your time, because this means so much to me that even one person like looked into what we were trying to work on and was like, yeah, I want to sit down and attend to that event. Like that means so much to me that you're just taking the time to be with us today. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We started this little project because, I mean, we have to be real here, like 2020 is not exactly the way nobody had planned for 2020 to be. So the idea behind like this webinar and this little get-together we're having today is to look at 2020 from a different angle. So I mean, it's easy for any of us to just look at the goal we had, and those goals are very likely not to be achieved right now. But it doesn't mean that it's not a good time to just start fresh and set new goals and new objectives. So I think our goal through this little webinar right now is for you to leave the room today and be like, yeah, you know what? I got this. And yeah, that and that and that might not be working quite the way I wanted that to work, but you know what? Like these other 5 things are gonna work even better. So like this is a little bit the mentality and the idea behind this meeting. Like I think a lot of us are skaters and we are at least familiar with skating. There's a lot that can translate from the ice to off the ice. And since we didn't have a lot of ice in the last couple of months,
Yeah.
I think now is a perfect time to look at everything we learn on the ice, everything training has brought to us, and put it in different direction and like use it everywhere in our lives. So I think this is a little bit the idea where we're going. And again, thank you so much for being here today.
So well said. I think that, gratitude is a great place to start with anything because, as you say, people can be anywhere they want today and they're choosing to be with us. So thank you guys so much. It's amazing when you start with gratitude, how the expectations will shift from what it should look like to what it is and then to move forward, right? So exactly what you're saying. It's like, okay, got it. Things are not what we wanted maybe, or maybe they look different. But that doesn't mean that it's all lost or that the intention behind it has to shift 100%. It's just about tweaking and finding a new way sometimes to be yourself, right? And to be inspired, and then use what you know from the ice to what's next. So with that, we're going to do a really fun style today, you guys. We're going to kind of interview each other back and forth because then it's more like, chit chat and connection, and you'll learn about both of us, but also like take notes or take it. I always say when we do master classes, I'm like, take the information, steal it, like take it away from us. We're here to give it to you. Like, this is not a secret. That's the whole point. So that's what we're doing here together.
Yes, yeah. I'm super excited. So can I start by asking you a question?
Sure. Oh, I was grabbing my notes, but you're ready. Okay, perfect.
Okay, so I would love to know, like, how do you transform the creativity you have on the ice? Like, how do you take that from the ice to off the ice? Like, what does that mean for you?
Well, it's funny because creativity for me is not a choice. It's happening to me. I always feel like the choreography, people will ask me, like, how do you come up with that choreography ideas? And truthfully, I have the opposite problem. I'm not sure how to turn it off, right? So, choreography, I had no idea there was such a thing as a choreographer or even an entrepreneur. These two things I've ended up being in my life, I didn't know that that was an option as a young kid, but I was already doing all those things that I do now. So I would spend the Saturday just like this in my office, creating cards and planning my business, like a 6-year-old. Or I would spend, at the time making dances to whatever record was playing in the living room, So to me, the creativity and taking it from the ice or off it, it's very fluid. It's very flowing. And I think that, when people think of creativity as like one way, or like, for example, I have a painting behind me. If you think it's like, well, if I can draw, then I'm creative, then you're missing the point of creativity, right? It's a way of life. And I'll say this, when you look through your creative lens, like if you put the creative glasses on and you see life through that mode or that medium, everything becomes an opportunity to take one thing, put it together with another thing, make something new, which is creativity, right?
Oh my gosh, I could not agree more, because like a lot of people, like when I say, yeah, I'm an ice skater and a fashion designer, like they right away picture someone dancing through the malls, like finding pretty things and shopping magazines. But like, this is really not what that kind of creativity is all about, because like, if I'm being really honest, I'm doing a whole lot more creative work with like the Excel sheets and all the like business side of things. And this is really true when you're talking about the creative lens, which like, not only do you need to be creative on the actual artistic side of things, but you need to be creative like everywhere in a way. And like the whole life changes when you start acting that way.
That's very, very true. Very true. Yeah. Actually, I wanted to ask you about in your business, people on the call may or may not know that much about what you do, right? But you've created a whole nother realm of inspiration with products, right? So you've taken like a love of the ice, a love of performing. If you don't know, she's a fabulous performer internationally. So like the real deal. So your passion for what you've given on the ice, you've now translated into beautiful jewelry, beautiful clothing, stuff that people can wear. And I think stuff they can wear intentionally to feel great in their skin, right? Like to feel like yourself, but with a little sparkle. Is that right?
That's really what it is. Like in the beginning, like my love of skating is really what drives everything. Like in my life, literally, like even Ryan is a skater. Like skating is everywhere in this house.
Ryan's your husband, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So we're both skaters. Like I love skating so much that that's how like I started to create those little jewels, and then like from 10 little jewels became 100 big little jewels, and like things grew like that. But if I'm being very honest with you, like the creating the products and stuff was really fun. Like this will forever be my favorite part. Like I have sketches all over the wall here, and like it's the best. But the mathematics behind like going from selling 10 jewels to sell 10,000 jewels was really not that simple. And I think like if I look back on the last 2 years since I created Brilliance and Melrose, like the place where I actually been the most creative was on how to build the inventory. And so I did it with the jewels, and now I'm kind of slowly getting into this with the clothing, where I don't want to risk my house on a project, but at the same time, like you need to go like slowly, step by step. So I think in the Brilliance and Melrose like little history right now, like the creative side have definitely been like the business side of things. Like it's been like I'm really really excited of what's been accomplished, like the like going milestone by milestone without like throwing tons of money, because I mean someone's gonna invest somewhere. Things don't like fall from the sky. So that happened like a little bit by luck, a lot because of great customers, and you know that's how it is.
I love it. Well, it's so cool that, thank you for sharing that honesty part, because it's funny. I was just literally thinking this morning, of course, these things happen in the shower, these ideas, you know, it just comes at you. And I was thinking of creating a new product around helping people understand that once they get choreography, the fun part, they learn the choreography, all the way to performance, that's a system of actually training. And it's not that sexy. It's not that fun. It takes like layers and willingness and energy and trusting yourself, and then like the coaching along the way. And that's kind of what you're saying. And I would love for people on the call here, like I know you have a lot of young skaters, you guys, just because you want to do something and it's super inspiring and fun, it's also going to come with that dedication, that hard work, the figuring out problem solving, as you said, right? Getting in the nitty gritty of that to create something, right?
Oh, absolutely, because there's what people see and there's everything behind. Like, and it's the same, I feel the same way about skating. Like I've been skating for long enough, and I'm old enough. I don't want to challenge myself anymore. Like what I'm doing is what I'm doing, and that's what I will keep doing. I don't want to learn anything new. So like I go on the ice and I skate, and it looks the same like it used to look 2 years ago, because I've been doing the same thing over and over. But it doesn't mean that I don't train 3 times a day here, like to keep the fitness, to keep things going, like sweating everything. Like
yes,
it has a different meaning. Like this whole like evolution has a different meaning as you grow. But it like hard work doesn't disappear. Like it's got to keep going.
Yes. Okay, well, let's pivot into one of my questions for you that we started talking about together, like when we started like building this together and this idea of having a webinar. We took the idea of self-help, right? Like the fixing yourself. And we thought, wait a minute, it's not really self-help, it's more self-health, right? Like treating your body well, treating your mind well. So for you, like clearly you stay physically very active, as you say. What are some of the things that you make sure you do, or that you notice work really well for you in your self-health journey?
Well, working out is a big part of my day. Like, and it's not just the physical side of things. Like literally I would be in my computer working for 2 hours, and there's a point where I just cannot think anymore. So I put my running shoes, I do like a 45-minute workout, like I get it out of the way, and then I sit back down, and suddenly I see everything so clearly. So this is a very, very big part. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the whole heating situation that goes. Like I know, like being a skater, like especially like show business, like if ever any of you guys wants to go in show business, like it's a very sensitive topics. Like there's the weigh-ins and all that kind of stuff. Like it's easy to go sidetracks with that stuff. But for me, what's important is what I eat. It's not about what I don't eat. It's about what I eat. Like I work out 3 times a day. Like I gotta eat. And they're like, I know that I need like a couple of bananas, a couple of avocados, like a bunch of vegetables, carrots, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really matter if I have French fries at the end of the day or if I don't, because if I've had everything I needed, my body's fueled, first, and second, I'm not really hungry for French fries anymore. So instead of trying to like put stuff aside to stay fit, and I'm focusing more on what I need to get energy, and everything is kind of falling into places. And this is something that like we could talk more about, because I wish I would have known that when I was 18.
Right.
That like this is one of the big things that I struggle with. I am maybe 25 pounds lighter right now than I used to be back then, and it's not because I'm trying, it's just that because I have better habits. So this is what matters for me. But I would be curious to you, because you spend a whole lot more time on the ice than I do. So what does that mean for you? Like, what does your body need to go through all this cold?
All the cold.
Like, yeah, like literally, because this is a factor that like for me, like this is like, even like if you do an ice show, like the ice rings are not cold. So if I go for 45 minutes in the cold, I'm like, I gotta go, like my body is messed up. So do you have any tricks on how to like maintain your body in those temperature?
Oh my God, I love this question. This is so true. It's like, you know, I've done choreography. It's like coming up on 19 years. So I've been doing this a long, long time to be like so full time. And what I noticed is if I have a long session, to your point, if I'm on the ice, and sometimes I did a long day, like 10 hours on the ice, sometimes 12, but not very often. I have to really plan for sure what you're saying about my eating. So I need to give myself fat, because they're like the avocado, the, you know, nut butter. I can't have peanut butter because Ben is allergic. So, but I have almond butter, right? And then have your vegetables and all that stuff, so that I'm fueling myself. Absolutely. I definitely need my coffee. I need my espresso for sure. But I have to layer my clothing in a way that I call it up, down, up, down. So anything that comes up, like let's say I have my pants, then there's have to be a shirt that goes down, and then another pant that goes up, and another shirt that goes down. So there's no way that cold air is going for my skin.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
So it's like the layers have to kind of, because like I'm gonna have my jacket on, off, I'm demonstrating whatever, but the inside layer will never feel the cold unless I, you know, have to go to the bathroom or something. But it's like dress for success, you know, for your success of what you're creating.
That is really, really interesting. Okay, and side note, quick question about choreography. What do you like the best about choreographing for younger kids, and what do you like the best when you choreograph for older kids, like more advanced skaters?
Oh man. Well, young kids are really fun because, well, I love two things about the young kids. One, I don't have to pretend, I don't have to tell them, okay, now's pretend time. Like, you don't have to say that. You just go, okay, so you're going to be a unicorn and I'm a dragon. Let's go. Like they go, oh, okay. Like they don't go, what, unicorns don't exist, Jadene? No, they just go with me, right? And then my second favorite thing about little kids is I love to bug them. Like I will always, like, let's say I'm choreographing a brand new skater and I'm like, okay, this is the triple Lutz. And then they're like freaking out. And I'll always say like, your coach told me you're going to do triple Lutz. Is that a lie? What's happening? And they just freak out. And I just think it's so funny. Like they're just gullible, right? So it's kind of like I get to laugh, they laugh. So we have a lot of fun. But honestly, teenagers, I love it. And I'll tell you why. When you hit your teens, and every teen knows what this feels like. If you're listening right now and you're a teenager, teenagers have like so much extra energy that's like pent up. It's like, because they're so alive, they're growing, they're angry. If they're angry, they're like angry. If they're happy, they're like ecstatic, right? So if you can tap into their energy, it's like explosive. It's amazing. It's just like you can create art that is way beyond what you can imagine, because they have literally like, I imagine them like a fireball inside, like just so much energy, but you have to find the right way to tap in, because usually they're trying to keep it to themselves, which is great. But once you find that place, something that inspires them, it's like, boom, it just is amazing to watch.
That is really interesting because like a lot of people, that's another thing, like doing choreography is not all that easy. Like you don't wake up one morning and you're choreographing all the programs of your city. Like, and this is something I admire about you. And I know that a lot of people are interested into like just as much as like going into the eye show. Like for me, at least, it was like either I'm choreographing or I'm doing into the eye show. And like, I don't think I wouldn't know how to make it in choreography. So big congrats to you. And I think the way you responded to that answer, to that question, says a lot of on why you made it this far.
Aw, this is so sweet. It actually was such an accident. That's a whole other webinar, but I never thought I would do this. So I think what makes me wonder about you too in the same way is like, you know, I'm thinking, well, how did you create what you created? And I really want to know, is there a Brilliance and Melrose story? Like, how did that name, there's got to be some type of like story behind the name of the brand.
Yes. So I was looking at something that can be two parts, like Dolce Gabbana. So if I want to split the brand a little bit into, that I could have like little two aspects of it. And so as I was brainstorming on what I actually wanted, I would think like the company is actually registered under the name For the Love of Skating. So that's really what it is. Pour l'amour du
Next
patinage.
question. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So first thing first, this is Pour l'amour du patinage. And then the second thing was, okay, so how do I see that? So for me, like there's this whole aspect of skating, like in the ice show with the spotlight, the sparkles, the beautiful makeup, the feathers, all of that stuff. So that is the brilliant side. But there's also this old side, like my family has a country house like in the wood, and we have a beautiful lake, and it is so nice to just put your skates on, all the family, and we just go out there, we have hockey stick, we're just skating really for the love of skating with a coffee. So for me, like this is the Melrose side. So it came down to like Brilliance is the, like I go to the ice show, the sparkles spatters, and I'm drinking champagne, and I go skate on the lake with my big cup of coffee and my big like mittens, and I'm ready to go. And to me, to me, this was the love of skating.
Like I feel like crying. I mean, like, I knew the story was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be that good.
It took me a long time. Like I'd say 3 months to come to that point.
Yeah.
And that business plan, back then, that business plan was over 100 pages. I can't even believe. Yeah, it was a lot of work.
It's amazing. But I'm really respectful of what you've just explained, because to honor both sides, I think that's critical. Like, because, you know, like you said earlier, the example of the business, when people see the front of the business, like here we are, we have our makeup on, you know, we're ready to go, we're doing a webinar, great. But what did we have to do behind the scenes to get to this point, right? Like, you know, the learning of the Zoom, like how do you even host a webinar? How many texts we've had, how many conversations, how many intention setting, but it's worth it. But you're right, it is the Brilliant and the show, but it's also the Melrose, the nitty gritty, that just you're doing it because you love to show up and do it.
Exactly. And it's interesting what you're saying, because for the longest time when I was working on all of those things, I was not confident enough to put my face on anything. So originally I was taking pictures of my friends. I wanted to be there as little as possible. And talking like that, for me, it would have been like a big no-go, because I didn't have the confidence to do it. And I wanted the brand to be the brand, and I didn't want to have any attachment to it. But as things have grown, I realized that it was not in the best interest of nobody for me to act this way, because number one, the brand is so close from my heart. It's so close to me. It is literally who I am. And also, I'm forever going to be thankful for two things. Number one, Judy Thomas, the casting director for Disney on Ice, reached out to me. At March 2020, I was on the last Disney show that was performed worldwide.
Wow.
And she asked me to be the host of the show. So suddenly I'm in front of thousands of people with a mic, speaking with Mickey and Minnie, like 60 pages of text. It was crazy. So this was my first experience like speaking and vocalizing, like, because I've been a performer all my life, but it never was I talking.
Right.
So this was the first push that got me into like, okay, like if I could do this in front of so many people with like choreography and steps, and I had like 3 days to learn the whole script. So I was like, if I could do this, I'm capable of speaking out loud. And the second thing was my English. I was never confident enough to do anything like that in English.
Nice.
But when with the stay at home order started, I started an MBA, and like I just finished the first semester, and I got like, thank you, I got like pretty good marks, and I also got a scholarship that covers for the entire MBA program, which I could not believe.
Pause. You guys, we have, like, wherever you are in the world, congratulations. Like, if you don't know, an MBA is a master's in business. It's a big deal. And the fact that you've done that and now have a scholarship, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you. But more than the scholarship, it was the second kick that I needed to be like, okay, like my English got to be good enough. Like, yeah. If it's good enough to do a master's degree in business and to have a full scholarship, I get like, the English is good. It's not a reason for me to stop. And like, if I could speak in front of thousands of people, I can speak to my phone a little bit. Like, I'll be okay.
I'm not gonna die. It's gonna be okay.
No, it's all gonna be okay. Okay, so that was a little bit of my story. Now I would love to hear a little bit more about the masterclass you guys are doing, because it looks so cool, and I would love to know a little bit more about what that's all about.
I love it. So fun. This is so fun interviewing each other, because we get to go kind of everywhere. Well, just before I say the masterclass thing, I wanted to honor the fact that, thank you for bringing up the second language thing, because I'm teaching skaters that are here today that have first language in another culture, and then they also speak English. And you guys, like, this is an example of trust yourself, you know what I mean? Like, you can vocalize in any language, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's about just being yourself. So I just wanted to say that it's really cool that you brought this up. So.
Oh, and if I can just add a little one thing about that. So when I did my first Disney tour back in 2006, I was speaking zero English, not at all. And until I was maybe 24, I was so uncomfortable. Like, I would be shy. I would not even be myself, until like there was one day I discovered that like having an accent was almost to my advantage. It was, and doing the little mistakes here and there, it was not that big of a deal. Like, and that day was a very big turning point for me. So really, like, you gotta embrace who you, like, this is part of who I am. Like, I will be a French speaker my entire life. I was born and raised in French. What can I do? Yeah. But that's part of who I am. That's part of who I am. And I'm not ashamed of it at all anymore. And if I make a mistake, well, so be it. Like, just carry along, and like, we're moving on. So, okay.
Yes, nobody speaks perfectly, and I speak French and Spanish as well. And I make a lot of mistakes when I speak in those other languages, but it's still part of me, right? Still part of my version of it or whatever. So, so the masterclasses are, it's so special to me that you brought this up. And especially my heart was a little broken because, you know, with this new stuff going on, we haven't been doing them for a while, which I miss them, right? And so it's fun to talk about them. But Ben and I actually met at a seminar when we were young skaters, and like young. And so it's really, really cool because we experienced what it was like to be athletes at the seminar, right? And to have this injection of energy and this excitement and this passion. And then if you fast forward a few years, when he was done skating, he was like just finishing worlds and all that kind of stuff, right? And he loved coaching, he loved sharing. But generally, when you first do coaching, people ask you to do seminars. So we were going and doing seminars and learning more about being on the coaching side of it. And although we loved it and we had so much fun every time, we started, like, you know, on the way home, we would debrief, like, well, what did you get to do? Okay, well, I did axel for 20 minutes. Okay, oh, wow, okay. I did double salto for 15 minutes. And we're going, okay, although it was fun, although we had a great time, what did the skaters really take away from that? Like, what did the coaches really get to learn with us? What, you know, oh, I played with choreography for 10 minutes. You know, it just started to make us think, like, okay, what if this could actually be a training tool and not just a sort of fun day where you sign an autograph? Like, what if it could be more than that? And we started playing with ideas and creating, and I had secured the Skating Success website like domain because I wanted to be able to get to the point where people could book it online and make it easier for clubs. I didn't want any stress for people hiring us, but it of course takes years and years to develop that. But when we sat down and thought, okay, let's pretend we can do anything we want, let's just pretend. And then we thought, well, what if you teach one thing and you go all the way into it, like all the way, beginning, middle, end, on ice, off ice, a mental component. And when they leave that day, the coaches have a system to train. The skaters have something totally their own. They can just train and it'll work for them. And so the Axel Masterclass was born, and we thought, oh my gosh, when we did the first one, we thought, we're gonna see what the response is. We have no idea. By the end of the first day, I don't even kid you, because we always do a circle with coaches. They said, we love it. Where's the Salchow class?
Perfect.
We were like, okay, we got something here that is valuable for other people. We can share everything we know with way more people, make it a super effective training tool. Now we've done over 100 master classes and seen the results. So
that's really, really cool. Yeah, I mean, in the seminars and stuff, I feel like the most important is to keep in mind that you want to leave this place and leave a little sparkle of something that the people can keep. Like, it's almost like planting a little seed. So you're planting a little seed, and so people can like water the plants and let it grow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really, really interesting. Do you have an idea on when it's going to be possible to do some more of those, or like the restrictions are still too severe?
No, I think that, you know, especially being at the rink now, like the last couple of weeks, getting into it and seeing, you know, our sport is very easy to stay separated, right? And to stay, you know, and skaters are so good at knowing like where to go on the ice. And we have so many markings where they can, you know, we can separate people on the blue line or whatever. So actually we were talking about it last night and just saying, yeah, I think in the fall, why not? We can definitely create it and maybe shift the schedule. And we can always, back to the beginning of the conversation, being creative, right? Like we can be creative and make the 2.0 version of this masterclass. You never know, maybe even better.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Because sometimes when you're not allowed to do something, like you just turn around and like it turns out for the best. I like to think that everything happened for a reason. I mean, this is a pretty big disaster, but like there's still some kind of good that's gonna come out of this. I cannot believe that it's gonna be all wrong. So that's interesting. Oh, I'm excited. Like I hope I'm gonna follow up on that, because like I almost want to take one.
Oh,
and I've been doing those same jumps. Like yeah, like I would love to attend one once. Like I want to do the double loop one. I haven't done a double loop since I was 17, I think.
You come. That's the Snap Masterclass. It's super fun because it's salto and loop in one day. And by the end, you realize the technique is all the same, and it's really, really fun. So it would be good. But I think you also should join me and help me do the choreography masterclass. We can teach like a whole thing together. That'd be so fun.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely more my cup of tea. That would be a lot of fun. So I've been doing a couple of seminar, and like I am very well aware that I'm not the master of anything, but there's one thing that I can teach, and it's the love of skating. Like I love it so deeply, and I strongly believe that like if you want to get good, you better love it, because it's a lot of repetition, it's a lot of work. You got to do it and do it and do it over. And it's a lot easier if you love it in the process. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're working through choreography and edges, because another thing that is kind of a little bit annoying, like I'm from the 6.0 system, like, and I haven't connected a whole lot with the new system, but there's one thing, you know, from an outside point of view, there's one thing that I notice a lot, and it's that the kids, they're all the same. And to a certain extent, like this new system is kind of driving like the focus on a lot of elements, and from the show business standpoint, like I like to see different things. So I like to come and like have the kids to try new things and like put choreography and edges and like work differently. Like it may not be directly valuable to your new score system of any form.
No,
but at the end of the day, like you're gonna love what you're doing, and like you're gonna spend an hour doing something fun, and you're gonna try the next trick, and oh, suddenly it's going to be really good, because that's what happened to me. So like quick little note on the end of my competitive at the end of my competitive career. So I gained weight kind of quickly. I lost all my jumps. It was a whole disaster. I was like, okay, I'm done with this competition thing. I'm going into the ice show. And so my coach was like, okay, well, if that's the case, then you need to work on your edges. You need to work on like different entries of your jumps and stuff like that. So for a month, I was just trying to do my jumps on edges. I was just like doing edge, axle, edge, double toes. Like no triples, no nothing. I was done with this thing. So a month of doing edges and stuff. And then I'm like, oh, that feels kind of nice. Like I should try a few triples. And that week is probably the only week I was landing triples. Like I don't know how that ever happened, but it was so much easier. So I agree with you that it can be valuable, but you don't have to do it with the intention of landing those jumps. You can focus on the edges because edges are fun. And then next thing you know, you're going to try those jumps and it's going to be very much easier.
Oh, absolutely. It's so cool you share that because, you know, every skater I've ever worked with, I've tried to explain to them and help them understand that everything you're going to do comes from your edge. It's 100% where it all happens. It's like anything you want to grow, a plant, a tree, a flower has come from the ground. It's from the bottom up. And your foundation, that edge is 100% what is going to give you anything. Triple jump, quad jump, level 4 spin, every single thing. And here's the other thing about it. Everything in skating is natural because it was accidentally created. A camel spin is accidentally created. A quad toe is accidentally created from a single, double, triple. So if it feels like you are forcing it, probably not the right deal. So when you relax, to your point, you skate, you have the joie de vivre, you skate with your heart, and pour l'amour de patinage, for the love of skating, then you bring your body into a different state. It's totally a different experience.
Absolutely. And like from being the not judged side of things, like I don't care for points, I don't care for all that kind of stuff. I much prefer to see a skater that actually enjoys themselves, like than a skater who's crying every day. And like you can feel those things like the same way. Like if it's not fun, like you gotta fix something, you know. So that's my perspective on this whole training thing.
Love it. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna actually look at my notes. Oh, I should check the Q&A. Oh, you have a congratulations. So nice.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh. Oh, so one person is asking, how did you come up with the name Brilliance in Melrose? We already covered this, but she says, P.S. I love your jewelry. Of course.
Thank you.
Oh, are you needing any brand ambassadors is being asked as well. Well, you know what? Send her a message on Instagram, right?
Yeah, we just got a bunch of new ambassador on board, but we don't have a lot in Canada. So if ever you are from Quebec or Canada, it would be great, because this is one thing that's been a bit hurtful for me, is that the brand is actually doing a whole lot better everywhere else but in Canada. Oddly enough.
Well,
yeah.
Let's fix that. I also left my ears open today because I looked at your Instagram the other day and I'm like, I want those big new earrings. So I just left them open so that I could just be ready to buy whatever I need to buy.
This is so funny. Yeah, we have a bunch of earrings and stuff. But I don't know why it turned out to be this way.
You know what though? And I hate to say this in a way, but it's the same for us. I mean, Skating Success is, we've done masterclasses across Canada, and the hardest market has been right at home.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm not sure why that is, but I started to realize, you know what? It's okay. Maybe it's meant to be like a heart, like almost like we build, and then we come back to the center.
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still very grateful. Like we still have incredible customers in Canada. But let's say in the morning when I prepare the orders, like shipping an order to Canada is so much easier than shipping an order anywhere else, because every country's got their customs. They're like, nothing is the same from a place to the other.
Yeah.
And so I very much notice that I wake up in the morning and, oh, okay, so this order has to go to Greece, this order has to go there, this order, like, and that one time I get an order from Canada, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you, this is so easy, like put in the bag and go.
And it's also, you know, it feels great to serve the people that, you know, you love, and serve, you know, give back, I guess is the best way of saying it, right, to your community.
Yes. And with that said, I'm very grateful for every single customer. Like, I'm not joking. Every single time there's an order coming in the website, like, I'm calling my mom, like, okay, so today we sold that, and can you not believe, like, someone said, like, they like this piece, and like, so, like, everything is very much appreciated.
I love it so much. So I guess it's funny. I had this question: what does your tagline "For the love of skating" mean to you? We clearly talk about this. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Now, I wonder a little bit about your design process, because as you asked me about choreography, you know, I'm curious for you. Like, do you have, like, for example, a time of day that's more creative, or do you wake up in the middle of the night with, like, I have to design this jewelry? Or is it always happening? And you said you have some stuff on your wall, but where do you put, like, your little ideas and notes? How does it work for you?
Well, it's very mathematics, because if you think about it, like right now we're gonna deliver the July production next week. I'm working on the first sample on September, and I'm starting to think on what I want to create for Christmas. So every day I need to make sure, and so what this is all happening in one day, plus the orders are coming in of what's already, so like it's a process that is a full calendar. So how I like to work is that at the beginning of every week I look at my calendar and I'm like, okay, I need to be at the first fit samples of this month. I need to be like making mood board and like inspiration on what I want for Christmas. I need to, so it's not like I wish I could be like just with my pencil like painting and stuff, but this is really not how it goes. Like I really like look at what needs to be done, and then I work it backwards. And also what works for me, which again is not that creative, but it's easier for me to work on a budget, because it's easy to get lost. Like when you create, like I could create like 30 different like earrings, but I cannot sell 30. I cannot buy the inventory on 30 different designs of earrings. So I need
at once.
Yeah, exactly. So I need to look at, okay, so for that month, I can spend that much money on earrings. So that means I can do 3 designs. So now what are the 3 best possible designs I can do? So before even thinking about creating something, I put like those parameters in my head, and then I started research. And again, like I wish I could use like diamonds and stuff like that, but it needs to be like processed also. So how can I get the very best for a price that I know that the skaters are going to be able to afford? So when you put all those filters out, it feels like, oh, so that's what we're coming down to. But I can show you really quickly. If so, this is what I'm working on right now. So that's how I like to work. I like to do sketches on the computer like that. But then sometimes this is not quite what I want, so I just complete like with end sketches and colors, and so that's a little bit of a little window.
You guys, we're getting that behind the scenes.
That's a little bit of how it comes down. Once all the numbers are figured out, then I can sit and be like, okay, this is what's happening.
It's so interesting, because it's the same as choreography. People are like, if you're doing this creative, I'm like, but I have to have the 6 jumps, the 3 spins, the step sequence, the levels. This skater is like, I'm like, can I do Ina Bauer? No, I don't do Ina Bauer. Oh, okay. Okay, how about spiral, right? Forward, inside. No, I don't. Okay, so it literally, like you say, you're given what you're given, and then you need to produce for a result. I'm not selling it for a specific price, but it's being priced, and then I'm selling it to that client. So I get it. There's the Brilliance and there's the Melrose. You got to have both sides. Yes.
Yeah, and you're so right with the choreography. Like when we watch you, like, because I go there with my 2 skates and nothing else, because that's all I need, and I see all those athletes training, and I'm watching like all the, like, it's getting very specific. Like,
Yeah.
it was not like that when we were skating, for sure. Like now, like everything's got to be counted, like 4 rotation, 5 rotations. In my time, you were just pitting as long as you could. You know, that's really, really, you guys are doing an incredible job. Okay, so one question that I have for you, because
Sure.
for me, what is the most important, like the way I start my day changes everything. Like I need my day to start a certain way. Do you have like specific things, whether like a morning routine or a night routine, that affects everything else?
Oh, this is a beautiful thing. I have so much to say, so I'm going to try not to go on too much for that. But there is like an ever-changing routine. What it may look like is different, but the intention, if I start with my intention versus not starting with my intention, is totally different. So for me, the way I say it is spirit first, all else second. And for me, spirit is not a religion thing, but it's an alignment thing. So it's like breathing, connecting, listening to my intuition. And sometimes like it may be journaling, or it may be I need to do a little bit of a stretch, or some mornings I just need to like sit with the coffee and, like watch a video, or even just sometimes I have to write a poem, like it has to come out, right? Or sketch something.
Interesting.
it it's because I for so long I was so mad at myself that I couldn't find like a very specific thing that worked every time, but
Yeah,
then I
no.
realized like I'm an artist and I need to flow and go and be whatever. And what I realized, it's like if I just align myself, but if I skip that step and I just get up and start checking email and rush into the day, oh my gosh, I'm off all day long and I can feel it, and my stress doesn't sit well, and then I know I'm not creating the best work. And it's funny, the simplest way of thinking of it is, did I go outside and look in the world for what I need, or did I go inside first? Because my job is show up and give. Like I'm paid to show up and create something for you, and then something for you, and then something for you, often in 15-minute blocks if we can't get a long session. How am I going to do that for an entire day if I don't have anything to give you, right?
That is so right. Yeah.
So
Very, very interesting. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And even like that goes like when you're an artist, when we're on the road, like even if you try to have the same thing morning after morning, like it's not really possible. But there is something like that has to be like from the inside all the time. Like I feel the same way. Like every morning, like right now, because we're every day is the same, it's a little easier to wake up and do somewhat the same thing every day.
yeah,
But on the road, like when I was driving everywhere or traveling, and like you got to find a way to find your inner peace before anything else. So this is really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing.
well, thank you for asking. It's funny because I've listened to so many other people answer that question, right? Like because
Yeah,
people ask about it, and I love it because I always learn something. But you're right. It's gonna have to be flexible enough, like for me anyway. But the core thing is, do I go in and connect here, or did I skip that step? And if I do, I definitely feel it. So it's, yeah, really important.
yeah, that's interesting. And for me, the biggest challenge is the time zone right now, because I'm on the same time zone like you are, but Brilliance Melrose lives in Quebec, which is 2 hours earlier, and a lot of the Brilliance and Melrose friends are in Europe. So I wake up and I am behind. Like there's already a lot going on in my phone.
Yes.
So it's been so important for me to just like, I don't even look at it. I just go for a walk. I walk for 10 minutes. I run for 15, and then I come back to that phone and like I catch up, because other than that, like I completely get lost. And like, let's be real, like the phone is bringing a lot of good things, but like it comes with a couple of bad news. So how awful is it to wake up to like a bad news email, or like that's such a bad way to start. So like I was curious about your way, because I've been trying to figure out like this whole motion, because everything is new, like for me, like in February I think I took maybe 17 plane.
Wow.
And so now we're here, like really, really, like one day after the other. And it's been interesting for me to develop this whole new process.
Yes, absolutely. No, that's a really, really good point. And It's funny that you say, okay, I'm behind, and you're trying to figure out how to navigate that. When I first started doing choreography, I realized, okay, wait a minute. I'm my own boss. All right. So if I don't like how the company is running, whose problem is this? Oh, me. It's my fault. So then I realized, okay,
Yeah.
I better set this up so that I have the best work environment ever. Because if I don't, what's the point in being my own boss? Like, what is the point? I might as well work for someone, then I can complain that they're the problem, you know?
Yeah, that is very true. It's not all that simple to be working for yourself. That is for sure.
Oh,
It takes
no.
it takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah. But I thought, you know what? If it's going to be me and I'm the boss and I'm in charge, I'm going to have to make this fun and make it creative and make it work for me so that it's better than the alternative, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we all have our own ways. I mean, just here, like, I'm very much an organized person. Well, not organized, but in a sense that I can sit and I'm planning. So there's the planning, there's the action, and there's a review. Like, everything is very much like organized that way. So I can sit for 2 hours and I do something from start to finish. That's how I operate. But then I watch Ryan, which is right next door, and he goes up and down, like, within these 2 hours, like, he's drilled some hole in the wall, and like he's gone running and he's playing with the dog, and he's like there's a full circus going on. And you know what, at the end of the day, we're both getting stuff done the same. Like, so I think it's important for everyone to discover what works for them. And it's interesting to see your point of view on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. It's cool. Like, as you do, I work with my husband as well. And so, we, one of the big things we had to realize is we definitely work differently, like
Yeah,
100% differently in every way, on everything. And the skaters that we work with, of course, know this. But it's a compliment. And we were talking about it last night. Like, it fits together as a complement of one person is more with details, one person is more big picture, one person is more like flowy, and yet we have the same values and the same intention for the athletes and for the business. So I think you're right. It's like honoring what way works for you, and then like trusting that too.
absolutely. And in a relationship, I mean, when you're all the time with someone, it's obvious to like notice those differences, but that applies also in a team or like in any kind of work relationship, which has been a huge help for me, because like I'm so mathematics. Like, if I like, there's something on the to-do list, it's happening, and it's happening right now. So it's not necessarily easy for me to work with someone in my team or somebody who's like taking it more chill and stuff. Like, there's no chilling. Like, there's getting stuff. There's one way, and it's the getting stuff done way. But it's interesting to learn, because not everybody works that way, and it doesn't mean that my way is the only good way. So I would encourage everybody that's listening to just find what works for them, and I think embracing that is a very big step into like building something great.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, we talk a lot about like learning styles in skating, right? Because it's like, how do you learn, right? It's going to really
Uh-huh.
affect your productivity. So then also, how do you work, right? So how do you learn? How do you take in information? And then how do you process it and use it, right? And so that's it's a lifelong journey, because of course we all keep learning and keep growing. But as a skater, like, if you're listening in and you're hearing this, you're hearing different points of view on how to approach the day or how to approach a topic or an activity. And that's really cool. But ask yourself after this, like, how do I learn the best? And then how do I work the best? Right?
Absolutely. And for the skaters also, like, this is something that I wish I would have known when I was younger.
Mm.
Um, like, I think it's important to, like, instead of focusing, because when you're learning something, it's kind of natural to focus on this one thing you're learning, which also happen to be this one thing you're not succeeding at the moment. But I think it's important to take a little step back and look at the things you're doing great, and to embrace those things. Like, every time you have the thought about, like, oh, I would like to like be better at this one thing, it's kind of natural to operate that way, because this is what you're working on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that like all these other things you're not doing great. And like, as a matter of fact, in skating, if you get better in the things you're good at, like, chances are the stuff you're working on are also going to get better, and
Yeah.
it's a little bit easier in a mindset, I think. So that's really, really interesting, I think.
Absolutely. Well, there's a question from one of the people watching who's saying, what was the first Brilliance and Melrose item made? So what was the first item that you ever got made?
It was the little skating charm bracelet with the lilac crystal. Um, yeah, it feels like forever ago now. But yeah, I wish we would have documented that, because it was really a special moment. And like even to this day, like my business partners in Malaysia, like it's incredible to have some people that you can really trust. And like right now they're filtering all the productions, like, and like we can have that connection where we can create stuff. And it's also really interesting to work with some people who have the same philosophy of growth and success. Like this woman is not doing like anything she's not doing it for money. She's doing it for like to succeed and to bring something to the table.
Wow.
That is different than what's already there. So yeah, like if you want to look it up, I can put the link after. Like this
Yeah.
has been a first one.
Oh, cool. And the bracelet is neat because there's something, I don't know, like I'm wearing a bracelet right now, and there's something about like it's very purposeful. Like when you decide you make something, you wear it, it's like a decision. It's kind of like we were talking about all the things, deciding to find your inspiration, deciding to take care of yourself and have self-health, deciding to maybe pause and put the lipstick on just because you feel better have some lipstick, or not if you don't want to. Like I think what we're really getting at with all the different pieces, from choreography to business ownership to being women together, is like, craft your life as the masterpiece. You're the master of your life, and you can choose these things that make you enjoy it and just, like I would say, squeeze the juice out of it, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, especially during these times, it's so easy to focus on what's going wrong, because there's so much going wrong. I hate to say, but it's easy to just get like whipped around those things and like lose track of what really matters. But if you look at the flip side, like, okay, so if I can just give you one example, um, to give you numbers, like very roughly. So Brilliance Melrose sold about 600 jewels in January, about 400 in February, and 17 in March.
Wow.
so you know,
Yes.
it would have been there, like, and I'm not the only business in that situation. Like a lot of places I've been feeling that way, and it would have been so easy for me to be just like, okay, you know what, like I'm closing the books, I'm moving on, like this is not gonna work. And like it's not as if April was any better, and it was not as if any of 2020 was gonna look any better. But you know what, instead of like just looking at that and like feeling sorry for myself, I registered for that MBA, and then I got a scholarship for it. I came out with a clothing collection, which turned out to be like more than what I could possibly imagine. And now this is going to become like a strong side of the business for us. And there's a bunch of other products, because I was like, you know what, I'm just going to create anything I want. Like, why not? Like, what do I have to lose at this point? So like I went completely off the charts, like stuff that, like the stuff that's going to come out, that it's not jewels, it's not clothes, it's nothing that you could possibly like picture us doing. But I was like, you know what, I want to do it, and I have nothing to lose, so let's just go for it.
I can't wait for that. So, but this is so great, and I have to just pick a little bit, one more piece of that. When your business goes from boom to like boom, what was it in your heart that you found the resilience to say, okay, this is just a storm, it's not the end? Like, how did you do that?
Well, I guess I was not feeling alone in all of this, because everybody was in this one situation that like, what is there to do? And like Ryan as a diabetic is diabetic, type 1. So like in this whole COVID thing, like of all people, we need to stay at home and we need to be very careful with all those things. So I was not focusing so much on like the failure as much as I was looking at everybody else around me. And like in the scheme of things, like my little business did a whole lot like this thing did a whole lot less damage to my little business than it did to like Cirque du Soleil or Aldo or like all those big names. Like you would watch that falling apart and you're like, oh my gosh, like it's not that bad. Like this, we can recover from this. And like I think there's a point where like just the natural emotion kicks in and you're like, well, I gotta find a solution.
Yes.
You know. So yeah, things are slowly getting better, but I've learned more in the past 4 months than I probably did in my entire life. So did a lot of business owners, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I know. People are like, are you just bored at home? I'm like, bored.
Yeah.
Working all the time. But I love this because your analogy in business is so nice, because as skaters, you guys fall, but you get up. You get up and you try it again. You skate around again and you will figure it out. And it's just so beautiful to realize that that is the skill that you're learning from skating that will serve you. We promise you, right? We promise you it's going to serve you.
Yeah. And like, even if you want to, like, if you want to go to choreography or ice show, like the ice shows taught me a lot about that, because like you've got a contract now, but nobody says that you're going to get a contract next year. And like in fashion, it's a little bit of the same thing. If you design something and it's not selling, well, nobody said that you're going to keep your job forever. Like, it's not one of those jobs where like you can just cruise around. You need to constantly reinvent yourself. And Brilliance and Melrose is a hybrid of ice shows and fashion design. So like it would have been a little bit on me to expect that the business was going to be a like smooth cruising without like having any risk into it. Like, so I knew that I was getting into this kind of stuff even before I started. So like, you need to roll with it.
Absolutely. Roll with it. Yes. So speaking of rolling with it, it's 1 minute and then it's been an hour. Like, I don't even know how this happened, but it's been so fun chatting with you. There's one last question in here that just says, what is your favorite item of Brilliance and Melrose? And I kind of want to answer that my favorite item, I know I haven't seen it yet because I know, well, I have previous favorites, but I want to design something else with you. And I think we have to use the inspiration. Like, it's going to be an inspiration piece, like just for that, like you wear it to be inspired. I think we have to do something like that.
Oh, I'm super excited about that. Yeah, we can definitely work on something. And we're gonna figure it out. That is so funny because for me, I was traveling like with a little carry-on this whole time. So with me, actually, I only have this necklace.
Wow.
Like, I have maybe 2 or 3 pieces going around, but I really don't have that much jewels with me because I was like not having any luggage. So I would answer that, and definitely we need to work on something together.
I love it. Well, that looks gorgeous. And you can wear that on every occasion. And that's what I love about your pieces. They're so wearable, and yet they still have that intention behind them. So you've done a great job. And thank you for being here and sharing the time with me and sharing with both our audiences. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much to you. And like, I have a lot of respect for everything you've created. Like, I'm a big fan of Skiing Success.
Thank you. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, end of the webinar, but we will put it on YouTube and then we can share it later. But just follow your inspiration, follow your hearts, guys, and for the love of skating, right?
Yes, it was a real pleasure to talk with you and to connect with everybody that attended the webinar. And I'm looking forward to talk some more with all of you.
Love it. All right. Bye. Mwah.
Bye.